Yo, what's going on, guys? CO88 MSR here. Welcome back to the Madden 23 franchise. Now, this is still kind of the introduction because I did not realize the last one cut out at the wide receivers. So, if you do want to go see that first part, it is up on the channel. It's literally just called Episode 1. Obviously, this is Episode 1, Part 2. Because that cut out. And yeah, I guess, I'm going to continue to talk about the team. So Sterling Shepard is coming off of an ACL tear, or along those lines of an injury. I forget what he actually did. Maybe torn Achilles. Something along those lines. He caught 36 passes last year for 366 and a touchdown. Was probably one of the better receivers before he went down with the injury. Kind of screwed him. But, yeah, he is one of the better slot receivers, in my opinion, in the league. Obviously, he can also be counted as a deep threat. I guess they added playmaker into the game. I didn't realize that they added playmaker. But, yeah, like, his speed's good. He has probably the best hands on the team as well as a top route runner on the team. His change of direction's okay. Only thing that you have to worry about with Shepard is the injury, which, as I keep backing out, his injury is at an 87, so definitely gotta watch out with Sterling Shepard. Kenny Goliday was a guy who completely disappointed last year. If you're a Giants fan, caught 37 passes with 521 yards and no touchdowns. This was a guy, 2,000-yard seasons, former 10-plus touchdown guy. Standing at 6'4", 213, definitely want to get him involved in the red zone. This year, obviously, that speed at 89 really isn't that bad for him. His release isn't good. He struggles to get separation, but I mean, he can go up and get the ball. He has some pretty good hands. Route running is not the best. Definitely is not going to make anyone really miss. He's going to be more of the possession guy, the go up and get it kind of wide receiver that we need on the team, because Shepard 5'10", Goliday 6'4", continuing to look like Tony 5'11", Darius Leon 6'1", Richie James. Yeah, so like the height on this team is not that good outside of, Goliday, Johnson. You can count Slayton at 6'1". But speaking of it, let's go over to KT, Young Joka, Kadarius Toney. Good speed, good excel. Some pretty good hands actually at an 84. I mean, this was a guy who he kind of does struggle with drops, so hopefully that does not become an issue. His release is not that good. This is a guy with 74 carrying, 87 ball vision, can change direction like it's nothing, can make everyone miss. Okay at breaking tackles. Definitely injuries, though, not that good. And, I mean, he's kind of, yeah, he's kind of, he's not really happy here, I guess. If I go to stats and contracts, I like how in contracts you can see he's not interested in re-signing right now, so that's okay. And, I mean, yeah, New Jersey is not a warm weather state. But, yeah, so continuing with Kadarius Toney, kind of an underwhelming rookie year, but also I don't want to say underwhelming just for the fact that he didn't score a touchdown and the fact that he was always injured. When he's healthy, he has been probably the Giants' best player last year, I should say. When he was healthy last year, he was probably the top player for the Giants. I mean, this was a guy who can make people miss, do a lot of stuff after the catch that they really haven't seen since, we'll take a look at him later, but the top free agent in the league, Odell Beckham Jr. Now, I don't know what we're going to do with Odell. That'll be a decision that I make later on if I want to sign on Odell, but looking at the receiving room, we have a ton of receivers that can all play, including this guy right here, Darius Leon, who since his rookie year has kind of been underwhelming. I mean, if you look at it, right, 48 catches, 740 his rookie year, 8 touchdowns. Obviously, those 8 touchdowns were big. And then after that, kind of fell off. 3 touchdowns in 2020, 2 touchdowns back in 2021. This is a guy who was once considered to be a potential wide receiver 1. Now he's kind of a wide receiver 4. Just for that purpose, taking a look here. Obviously, the speed's there, the excel's there. His hands are not that good outside of him being able to reach over people. The route running's okay. Overall, I mean, he's not awful. He's not a bad receiver to have. Star dev. But with the type of receiving core that we have, including, you know, like a Richie James, like a Darius Toney, so we have Shepard and Goliday here. I definitely think this makes Darius Leon expandable, so I did add him to the trade block to see what we could get in return for him. Richie James is a guy that I do want to keep on the team. He is a playmaker. He can make a lot of people miss. He's one of the better kick returners in the league, so he basically has that all settled. Obviously, suffered an injury 2021, but when he's healthy, he's a star kick returner for San Francisco. Definitely want to keep him in. One of the guys, we do also have Wendell Robinson, the rookie wideout out of Kentucky. This is a guy very, very similar to Kadarius Toney. Can make a lot of people miss, hold on to the ball. He played a lot of running back, wide receiver out of college. Don't know what kind of role he's going to have, but he's definitely going to be on the team day one. This is a guy who was the kick returner last year, suffered an injury. CJ Board, not the best. Don't really know what kind of role he has on the team. Taking a look, Colin Johnson at 6'6", 222. I mean, this is a guy, once again, can pinpoint the ball. The wide receiving core is definitely going to have a ton of competition, even looking at it. Austin Pro, potential, Keelan Doss, Alec Bachman, and David Sills. These are all guys who on the bubble could have a chance at making it, depending on what happens with everything. Now, the tight end core is definitely one of the weakest points. Giants did sign Jordan Akins this offseason, so we do have Jordan Akins going. Played pretty good with Houston back in 2019, 2020, even in 2018 in that kind of depth role. Last year, obviously, was his lowest receiving yards and everything like that, or average yard per reception. But definitely, this is a guy who I think is going to set in nicely here. He is 30. I believe he's only on a one-year deal. So just kind of a fill-in role there for Jordan Akins. Coming out here is Ricky Seals-Jones. He torched the Giants last year. The only blocking tight end is Daniel Bellinger, so once we get to him, we will look at him. But Ricky Seals-Jones filled in for the injured Logan Thomas last year with Washington, caught 30 passes for 271 yards, 2 touchdowns. Cleveland back in 2019, 4 touchdowns. Very, very solid depth guy here with Ricky Seals-Jones. And then one of my favorite players that the Giants drafted this past year was Daniel Bellinger. Has good speed, solid catching, but the run blocking is there. Obviously not the best route runner, not the best hands, but his blocking is there. And, coming out of a fullback role or, a 2 tight end set, Daniel Bellinger, I think, definitely has that potential to be the starting tight end. We also have Chris Myrick, caught 3 passes for 17 yards and a touchdown last year for the Giants. Don't know what kind of role he's going to have on the team this year. He's an okay blocker, but nothing like a Daniel Bellinger. And then long snapper Casey Kreider, don't think he's going to be on the team. But yeah, it's not much to really do there. Taking a look at the tackles, I do want to kind of just work everything in. So I guess who can play? I want to go out and sign a tackle real quick, so that way I like having at least 2 tackles on each side for preseason. So let's go out and sign a tackle. Do I bring back Eric Flowers? Make Eric Flowers a New York Giant? I mean, honestly, it's not awful. Isaiah Wilson. We'll bring back Isaiah Wilson. I know he was on the team last year, so we'll bring him on. And we'll make him a left tackle behind Andrew Thomas, and then we'll take it from there. Jesus Christ, 350. Forgot how big he was. He's a big boy. Alright. And I will be right back. I'm going to pause the stream for 1 second. Alrighty, so we're back. Looking at this O-line, obviously just signed Isaiah Wilson. Not going to go over him too much. We do have the third-year pass protector in Andrew Thomas. Good pass blocking. Run blocking does need improvement. This is a guy who can move. He can block. Was probably the top Giants offensive lineman last year. Obviously, Isaiah Wilson back on the team. See what he does, if he even stays on the team. Starting left guard is definitely a question mark with Shane Lemieux as the top guy, but definitely not the best. He also did suffer an injury last year. Do have rookie Joshua Azudu, who is a very, very good lead blocker, solid in pass protection. Run blocking does New York, just a guy who can definitely work around, potentially grow him, and take it from there, yeah. And then at left guard, you got Jameel Douglas as well, potentially. He's just fighting for a role on the team. Taking a look here at the center position, do have John Feliciano coming over from Buffalo last year. Just a solid all-around blocker. Definitely is going to be the starting center with Nick Gates as the backup. He's coming off of a gruesome knee injury. Probably going to just be the backup here to John Feliciano, potentially starting depending on how this offensive line goes, and then Max Garcia as a good depth piece. Also coming over in the offseason on a 3-year deal is Mark Lewinsky. Three years, gets paid about $7 million over the next 2 after this year. It's going to be probably one of the better parts of the offensive line. He does a really good job at moving in the run game. Pass blocking is okay. Definitely is not a bad guy to have. Definitely probably going to be our top starter this year outside of maybe Andrew Thomas. And potentially we'll get to him, but the rookie Evan Neal. Ben Bredesen was on the team last year. This is a guy who can play anywhere on the interior offensive line, and his size probably allows him to play on the outside as well, 6'5", 215 or 315. Not the best blocker in the world. He's strong, but definitely not the best blocker. Do also have rookie Marcus Mcfadden. Once again, his size is huge. He's definitely going to stay inside. This is a guy, okay run blocker, okay pass blocker. Just going to be more of a depth piece at the rookie position. Now taking a look at the rookie right tackle, the 7th overall pick in Evan Neal. This is a guy, one of the best tackles coming out of college, was probably the top ranked tackle actually coming out of Alabama. Good strength. He can block. He can move. He's a freak athlete, being able to move at 351 pounds. He's strong. Won't really be getting hurt, hopefully, knock on wood. And, yeah. So, Evan Neal, looking forward to seeing him and Thomas protect there for Daniel Jones. And then coming over here, our right tackle is Matt Peart, 6'7", 318. He suffered an injury. Hasn't shown too much. He has his ups and downs coming out of Connecticut. Hopefully, he can show some promise here in the preseason. And, yeah, so now heading over to the defense, we do run a 3-4-D. So, just working players in that way. We do have Dexter Lawrence, 6'4", 342. He's coming into, actually, no, they did take his 50-year option, so he has 2 years left. That's good. This guy, 81 tackles back in 2021, 76 in 2020, 52 in 2019, 4 sacks in 2020, two sacks 2019. Apparently no sacks last year. I'm pretty sure he did get some, though. I don't know how true that stat is. But anyway, yeah, so this is a guy who's going to clog up the middle. He's going to be able to bring down people, clog up the outside. Not too fast, but honestly, for being a guy at 342, not that slow either. He can recognize plays. He's just going to be a guy to push and help out the outside guys at getting sacks. Also looking here is Jalen Holmes. He came over in free agency this past offseason from New Orleans, 21 tackles, 1 tackle for a loss. Had a big year back in 2020 with Minnesota with 56 tackles, only 1 career sack. Solid depth piece behind Dexter Lawrence. Taking a look at the right outside linebacker position, though, do have our right end, not right outside linebacker. Another guy who's gonna help clog up the middle with Dexter Lawrence is Leonard Williams. Once again, I don't know how true these sack numbers aren't right. I don't think, because there's no way Leonard didn't have a sack last year. Let me see. Dexter Lawrence. Yeah, Dexter Lawrence back in 2021 had 2.5. So Dexter Lawrence coming off a 2.5 sack year. Jalen Holmes is coming off of actually 0 sacks. And then now looking at the right outside linebackers here, Leonard Williams, or left end, right end. After getting his new contract, he only put up 6.5 sacks, but still, really, really good guy to have. He's going to be able to rush the passer, push people back, and help out the outside guys getting sacks. Nick Williams coming over in free agency as well from Detroit. He had 40 tackles last year. Let's see how many sacks he actually had. He had only half a sack last year with Detroit. Once again, solid backup behind Leonard Williams. And then Jihad Ward played his best football with Wink Martindale out there in Baltimore. 54 tackles with Jacksonville last year. See how many sacks he had. He had 2 sacks last year with Jacksonville. So yeah, so he plays best football out there with our current defensive coordinator. So hopefully that can help. Justin Ellis is a big boy up the middle. Should help clog the middle. 29 tackles with Baltimore last year. Once again, plays his best football. We do have rookie DJ Davidson, 6'4", 328. Should help clog up the middle as a decent backup behind Justin Ellis. Taking a look here at left outside linebacker, the star pass rusher, Azeez Ojulari. 69 tackles, 8 for loss. So they didn't get their sacks loaded in, because Ojulari had a lot more than 0. He set the rookie record with 8.5 sacks or 8 sacks. He set the Giants rookie record. 69 tackles, 8.5 sacks last year. Definitely is going to be a good person coming off the edge, with, Williams and Lawrence pushing up the middle, even Justin Ellis. Quincy Roche is also here, 50 tackles. He, in his rookie campaign last year, did also have, I think, 1.5 or 2 sacks. Cam Brown is a great specials teamer coming out of Penn State. Probably the anchor of this linebacking core is Blake Martinez, coming off a torn ACL. He did have 35 tackles and tackle for a loss. Obviously suffered that torn ACL. 216 tackles with the Giants back in 2020, 213 with Green Bay. I mean, this is a guy who flies around the field. He's a great tackler, great at reading plays. And yeah, do have Tay Crowder chilling here as well. He's a guy who kind of took over that Blake Martinez role last year. 196 tackles, 2 for a loss, 2 picks back in 2021 for Crowder. The second linebacking position, though, like the second spot for a linebacker on the inside, is definitely up for grabs. Obviously, Blake Martinez has ever been in 3-4. You're on two middle linebackers, so Tay Crowder is a potential option there. Another potential option is rookie Micah Mcfadden out of Indiana. This is a guy who flies around the field, good at tackling. Okay at tackling according to Madden's standpoint, but he was good at coming out of college with tackling. Looking forward to seeing him compete here in the preseason. Austin Calatro. Or Calatatro, I don't know. He's more of a depth piece, bouncing around teams. Darian Beavers is also here, outstanding rookie in the preseason, who just sadly probably suffered a season-ending knee injury. He'll be gets better soon. And then Carter Coughlin's probably a better edge rusher than anything, yeah. Let's go ahead and move Carter Coughlin to the edge, to an edge spot here at like left outside linebacker or something like that. Yeah, exactly. He's much better of a edge rusher. And then obviously everyone's favorite rookie for the Giants, Kayvon Thibodeaux. He's going to be flying off the edge. I mean, this is a guy, once he can get his play rec down, it's going to be an insane player, the 5th overall pick. Very much looking forward to seeing him play this year. He also did suffer an injury IRL yesterday, but should be okay. Also, coming off the side, I do want to add him to the trade block. Not the biggest fan is O'Shane Ximines. This is a guy who had an okay rookie year. Everyone thought he was going to be the next, kind of thing with 4 sacks. Suffered an injury back in 2020, or just really didn't do much in 2020. And then last year, too, not really do much. So O'Shane kind of take it down. Nico Lelos is here. Don't really know what kind of role he's going to fit on in the team. Obviously, Nico is everyone's favorite player back in 2020, and then Ellerson Smith is also here, but he was injured for most of his rookie campaign. Only really had 7 tackles. Now, the cornerback core is definitely interesting here. Adoree Jackson's obviously the clear-cut number 1 corner. Had 77 tackles and a pick last year. In his first year of his deal, has 2 years left. Obviously played first few years with Tennessee. Should be a good corner for the number 1 spot. Then after that, there's just a drop off. Probably going to be the slot corner is Darnay Holmes. I mean, when he's healthy, he's good. Or he's above average, I should say. But question is keeping him healthy. Obviously did suffer some injuries last year. He's been having a really good camp in real life. Hopefully makes a name for himself here in this franchise mode. Guy who has kind of been struggling is Aaron Robinson. Played a lot of nickel corner in college, but we already have a nickel corner with Darnay Holmes. So I don't know where Aaron is going to be fitting in. But we'll definitely try to find a role, whether it's that one guy I do like that the Giants picked. That's Khalil Dorsey. Giants did not pick him. Cordell Flott, the rookie out of LSU, 6'1", 175. Does need a lot of work. Not the best tackler. Does need work, but he's a guy I kind of feel comfortable playing week 1 as the other outside corner. I like his size at 6'1". Obviously, his weight could be a little bit better at 175, but nevertheless, I mean, this is a guy who has a ton of room to grow, and he's only 21. I think starting him right away could definitely benefit him for the long term, because looking at this Giants team, I don't think this is a team that is going to be ready to compete anytime soon. There's a ton of question marks, so I don't know what this year is going to be like. Khalil Dorsey is another solid backup, as well as Michael Jacquet. Obviously, basically these 4 guys are probably safe. Then there's a question mark for number 5, where Darius Williams was a guy I did like a lot last year back out of camp and normally, but he did suffer an injury, and he's not wearing number 14. That is retired, so obviously I have to go through and make sure that the players' numbers are good. You can wear 37. Go ahead. And then Gavin Heslop. Take a look here at free safety. Probably going to be the best player on this defense outside of maybe Blake Martinez. Secondary-wise, I should say, Xavier McKinney. I think he's going to be the best player. Coming off of a 5-interception year, 127 tackles. Really, really came into his own this past season. Definitely one of the top free safeties in the NFL. Probably top 10. They have him ranked 14. I'd say he's a top 10 free safety. I think his ball hawking skills are really, really good. Also, signed recently is Gerard Wilson. Solid backup. And then do have undrafted rookie Yusef Corker, who I really thought should have been drafted, but he's more of a power hitter. Also, 11 is retired. That's Phil Simms. So go ahead and change his number here to something random. Change it to 38. Go ahead. We're 38. And then looking here at strong safety, Julian Love. Definitely more of a ball hawking safety once again. Him and McKinney should hopefully be getting a good amount of interceptions here this year. I hope so. Anchoring that back end of the D. The only question mark is kind of the tackling. I mean, Xavier McKinney, looking at him, Xavier McKinney, 73 tackles, not the best, but definitely is not awful, but not the best. And then Julian Love with 70 tackle. Once again, these two guys, the tackling could be a question mark. Andrew Adams re-signed with the Giants. He's a rookie back in he signed with undrafted rookie, or he signed with the Giants as an undrafted rookie back in 2016. Had a 4-pick year with Tampa Bay back in 2018, and honestly, solid backup. And then rookie Dane Belton as well. Take a look here at kicker. Obviously, the best kicker, or honestly, one of the top. I'd call him a top 5 kicker in the NFL. They have him ranked 7. It's Graham Gano, Mr. Automatic, basically outside of last year, Mr. Automatic. And then punting is Jamie Gillian. Looking at picks, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 2 7s this year. So no 6-rounder, 2 7s. And then taking a look here at some of the top free agents that are available. Sitting here is Odell Beckham Jr. It's going to be interesting to see where he goes. Take a look at the top top QB, Cam Newton and Blake Bortles, as well as Kurt Benkert. But yeah, like, one guy I do kind of interested in signing is Linval Joseph. I think Linval up the middle with everyone could be a really, really good over Justin Ellis. So you know what, I am going to go out and sign him. Which means I am going to have to make a cut already. That's fine. I guess for cut, we'll just straight up cut Casey Kreider because he's not going to do anything long snapping up. Alright, yeah, so we did just add on Linval Joseph. He was with us back in 2010, won a Super Bowl in 2011. Overall, a solid guy to have, flogging up the middle. I think him, Williams, and Lawrence are going to make a really good team. Just figure out a role for all of them. And yeah, I mean, overall, I do really, really like the potential that this team has. I'm not quite sure what's going to happen, but we'll see. So I guess now just taking a look here at the schedule. Team schedule. As a preseason, we got the Patriots, Bengals, and Jets. Then looking here at the regular season, we open up against the Titans. Then we're home against the Panthers, Cowboys, and Bears. The Cowboys game is Monday Night Football. Then we're at Green Bay, home against the Ravens. Then we're at Jacksonville and at Seattle. Bye week is week 9. Week 10, we got Houston and the Lions. Then we travel to Dallas for Thanksgiving. Then we're home against Washington, home against Philly. We're away against Washington again. Then we are in Minnesota. Then we're in Minnesota. I believe that's Christmas Eve. Home against the Colts Christmas Day, or not Christmas Day, New Year's Day. We're in Philly to close out the year, week 18. So yeah, definitely think there is a chance we can make the playoffs this year. I mean, looking at the schedule, it's not the hardest schedule in the world, but definitely is not the easiest. I mean, that's preseason. Tennessee's a tough team. Panthers kind of have their QB question marks, but with Baker at the helm, could be a tougher game. Obviously, Dallas. Obviously, there's Dallas, Chicago. Chicago should be a close game. Green Bay is going to be a hard one in London. Baltimore is going to be a hard one. Might have these two. This is probably the easiest part of our schedule is Jacksonville, Seattle, Texans, and the Lions. Definitely think the Bears. So I think the Bears, Jacksonville, Seattle, Texans, and Lions, they're probably the easiest 5 games. Those are 5 games that we should win. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Should be 5 games that we win. Take it from there. And then I think, honestly, Vikings and Colts could be a toss-up too. So if things play right and we play solid football and we could steal, and, if we win the games that we should, that, I have confidence in the Giants with, Chicago, Jacksonville, Seattle, Houston, Detroit. And then you steal a few like the Vikings, Colts, and you steal 2 or 3 division games, you're looking at a playoff team with the Giants. That's only if, Daniel Jones plays the right football, Barkley, the offensive line holds up. It's just a matter of basically as long as everyone plays their game. And yeah, so I'm going to end this here and probably start up a preseason stream, hopefully getting all those games done here. Definitely want to look for some slider sets and stuff, though, before I get into it. So, might be a little bit here, and I'll see you guys.